The way I like to look at this is like glass and rubber balls. Have you heard of that sort of analogy before?
No.
So it's all like, we're always all juggling different balls. Like, you know, as you mentioned before, for myself, my relationship with Laura is really important to me. You know, it just is. It's something that, you know, we've been together since we're 15 years old. You know, I love her more than anything. And so spending time like fostering a healthy relationship with Laura is important. That's a ball that's sort of always up in the air being juggled. Sometimes it's a glass ball, but sometimes it's a rubber ball. I've got to drop that and it will bounce back up in my mind because I've got to catch something else that's more important at the time. So my relationship with my girls, same sort of thing. They're so important to me, you know, more so than I'd imagine anything else to ever be. But at the same time, there's times where they can't be a glass ball all the time because there's something really pressing personally, or there's something really pressing with business. So for me, it's understanding that you've got different balls, and sometimes they're glass balls and sometimes they're rubber balls. But I think wisdom comes in when you can realize that actually you can't have what is meant to be a glass ball always rubber ball. It won't always bounce back up. So you've got to be able to sort of switch them in and out at the right time. As you mentioned, that could change through a week, that could change through a year, that could change through a season in your life. I don't think it's realistic to always have perfect balance across every area of your life. I think it's around that sort of rubber and glass ball analogy for me is important. The reality is at the moment, my girls are 18 and 16. They don't love hanging out with me all the time.
Yeah,
at the moment.
as much as you probably want them
As
to.
much as I'd love to. Yeah, and so that means it's sort of, I can shift a bit of my time and energy into something that's business at the moment is like what I spend. I don't have enough hours in the day to focus on that. So it's sort of, you know, what do I do with my relationship to make sure that I don't drop that ball while I'm really focusing on this?
So is it about trying to recognize all of these different balls that you have to try and juggle? When you start to realize that a rubber ball becomes glass, in other words, it's very brittle, you can't afford to drop this ball right now. Is it about just kind of refocusing and going, okay, I've got to spend a bit more time over here?
Yeah.
Is that the trick?
Exactly. Yeah. Like health is a glass ball.
Yep.
You know, it just is always like, what do they say? Like a healthy person wants 100 things, an unhealthy person wants one. You know, it's like,
Be healthy.
it's not, well, you know, it's when you lose it.
Yeah.
Like Laura would give anything to be what she was like physically prior and mentally, you know, she would give anything for it. And like, it's not until you lose it that you realize how important it really was. And so finding ways to just make sure that it's like a non-negotiable, whatever that looks like for you, to be physically healthy for yourself, for your family, so that you can get the most out of life. I think it's a fundamental one. And for me, because I'm pushing so hard at one end, I have to build stuff that supports that at the other end, or else I'm just going to push myself into an early grave, and that's not helpful for anyone.